Jack moved to London in 2031. He loves classical music and loves the view of the city from his balcony. Jack also loves wearing a blue suit. I guess he thinks he is Don Draper. Jack is an advertising executive. But he is no longer an advertising executive, he is jobless now. Jack has not yet found a way to tell his wife and family the bad news. Jack rising early every day, donning white shirt, and knotting his tie before setting out for the job he no longer has. He will go to the South Bank today. Funny, South Bank Centre. In fact, most of the foyer either from the concert hall or the public building has become an office for those without one to go. You think this is funny? I tell you it is a global issue. Look at the articles. Lots of people are concerned that AI is going to take over their jobs. Look at this. I am not a tornado. I just want to help. Firstly, I think when people are not working they miss the social life. Unemployment isn't just troubling because of finances. The isolation and loneliness can also extend to mental health problems. And secondly...
Wait, stop there. The fear of technology can trace back to those Luddite who destroyed the textile machine.
Sure, what I was trying to argue is, I guess it's not my fellow robots' fault.
Right. And also, people were suggesting that eventually we will have a more transitional stages instead of 3 stages life. I don't really mind you use my story in your film, but let's say I'm in a transitional stage.
Of course, affirmative, Jack, more transitional stages. Well, and secondly, Hannah Arendt said mankind live in a society of laborers which is about to be liberated from the fetters of labor, and this society does no longer know of those other higher and more meaningful activities for the sake of which this freedom would deserve to be won. Why don't you become part-time flaneur and flanneuse?
Right, that's a good question. In that case, I think you should include those pretending stories from the internet. It was a big story back to 2020. Your film is kind of based on real story, isn't it? And quite a few institutions claim that people should take back their time and enjoy it.
Definitely. On the other hand, do you remember the lying flat movement? Young people literally lie down against overwork.
The lying flat doctrine. Lying flat means resisting the variety of socio-cultural demands with a passive attitude, actively lowering their desire to maintain the minimum standard of living, not buying a house, not talking about love, not getting married, not having children, not pursuing a promotion. This is also an attitude of life, is it not? However, the term was immediately blocked by Chinese officials and disappeared from all social media platforms.
It eventually turns into a phenomenon, globally.
Interesting you mentioned that, but I think work has a meaning beyond the purely economic. For some people, work is a source of income and nothing more, but for others, their work does provide a strong sense of purpose and identities.
Well, certainly. It's all about people taking back their time and enjoying it, isn't it?
I think you're right.
Ultimately, we all need to complete this sentence. When you do not have to, you would prefer to.
And it has a long history too. Bertrand Russell argued that the leisure class contributed nearly the whole of what people called civilization.
Yep, I know that quote. Without the leisure class, mankind would never have emerged from barbarism.
Today we take all those civic landscape for granted, but I've heard that a few decades ago all those spaces were private office lobbies.
It was a successful collaboration between humans and AI who collectively worked together and made this happen. And, in the end, they proposed a legal provision, which fundamentally shifted the city's public space.
What? What provision?
I cannot believe you don't know this, Jack. That legal provision, on the sections 106 and section 278, although they are all gone today. But I think the idea was based on the London plan, which already encouraged offices building to transform into a mixed use. They proposed expanding and transforming those ground lobbies into a more civic urban landscape. That is where everything started. And now what we are watching is the celebration of that collaboration.
That is to say, not only people who live here can use this space, but also open for the public to drift around, isn't it?
Yep, indoor beach, pond, jungle, cinema, you name it. I think the real success of their proposal is not only provided environmentally diversified, inviting and thriving social spaces, but most importantly laid the foundation for the shifting of mentality of the old work ethic. Alrighty, it's been a great day today. Meet you in the foyer tomorrow, okay?